Hi guys, thank you for joining me back here again on the 401 Files. I'm gonna do another filler video for you. What I'm gonna chat to you today about is an experience that I had a few years back. So a long story short, I was asked to be a guest on a podcast. I was asked to attend on a podcast. There was gonna be a panel of maybe like 3 or 4 different people, and everything felt good. Like the vibe was nice. They seemed interested in what I do and what I talk about. So I obviously agreed. And no sooner I agreed, no sooner we went live on this podcast, the atmosphere was a bit different. It wasn't what I was expecting. And it was quite clearly obvious from the open that these people were trying to back me into a corner and trying to get me to say something that would make me look stupid. Now, why they would do this, I'm not sure, but they kept going on about the Bigfoot, the UK Bigfoot, and why do I think there is a Bigfoot wandering undiscovered in the UK? And I kept having to correct them all the time. That's not what I believe. I've never said for a minute that I believe there is a 7 to 8 feet, 9, 10 feet tall creature undiscovered walking around the English countryside. I've never said that. Even back in the early days of the 401 Files, when I really didn't know what direction I was heading in, I still always speculated they could have an extraterrestrial element. And that is something I've always stuck by. And if it's not extraterrestrial, it could be supernatural, interdimensional, paranormal, whatever it is. I just don't believe that they are flesh and blood creatures undiscovered. I just don't. There has to be something else, some underlining layer to these creatures that we don't fully understand right now. And for me, that was the extraterrestrial crossover. So, yeah, I kept correcting them. I kept saying, look, I don't believe that there is a Bigfoot in the stereotypical sense. You know, a 10-foot tall creature covered in hair walking around that's undiscovered. I don't believe that. But they kept pushing it and pushing it. And I'm thinking, have they got the right guy on the podcast? Like, do they know what I talk about, what I do? And I think like maybe 20, 30 minutes into the podcast, it just twigged that these guys wanted a title. They wanted something to poke fun at, something to latch onto, and maybe even ridicule me over. But I wasn't going to give them that. Like, I was just sticking to my guns and saying, you know, I don't think that. That's not what I believe. This is what I believe. But they couldn't get on board with that. They couldn't get their head around the fact that I thought Bigfoot could be an extraterrestrial. For them, it was just too weird, too sci-fi and futuristic and a bit kooky. But then when I said to these guys, like, look, think 1,000 years from now, do you think it's possible or likely that we might have extraterrestrials living here on Earth alongside us? Well, yeah, I think that that's possible, yeah. Right, okay. Think 500 years, do you think it's possible? Possibly, maybe not. So what is it that's giving you this illusion, you know, of when it becomes acceptable as to when it doesn't? Because you've said that 500 years is maybe, but 1,000 years is probably definitely. Why is it that now we can't have extraterrestrials living amongst us? Because whether they are here now, or in 500 years, or 1,000 years, we don't have no say in it. They're not here because we've said, come on, it's fine now, you can arrive. They're here because they want to be here. And so I tried to explain to these guys that your only reason for disbelieving that extraterrestrials could be living right here, right now amongst us humans, is based on a human factor. And that is a stereotypical thing that we humans do a lot. We are very entitled. I mean, for example, when we first started looking to the heavens, to space, we believed that everything evolved around us. Again, it's a very entitled viewpoint. You know, we think that we are God's only chosen children. Again, a very entitled viewpoint. And so when I put it to them in this way, like, why? Tell me why you think they can't be here now, but in 500 years possibly, and in 1,000 years most definitely. Your reasoning is based on what we're doing. But for them extraterrestrials that are coming here, they don't care. They couldn't care less what we're doing. If they want to be here, they will be here. It doesn't matter what you think, what you believe, what stage of advancements we're at. If they're coming, they're coming. And that's that. So, yeah, they didn't seem to like this approach from me. They didn't seem to like the fact that I thought this far outside the box. But I guess I'm just trying to send this message to you guys, is that you're going to meet people who have not only differing opinions, but you're going to meet people that try and get you to say things that you don't want to say. Now, if you do believe that Bigfoot is a flesh and blood creature, stick to that. You have your beliefs, your own personal experiences throughout life have led you to that opinion, and they're yours and yours only. Stick to why you believe what you're saying is true. Don't ever let anybody bring you down, try and back you into a corner to say something that maybe you don't believe. And sometimes you're going to get people that laugh at you, poke fun at you. I've had that a lot. But I always have the last laugh, because as times change and new things come forward, whether it be on the news or in newspapers about the subjects, it's always swaying more in favour of what I've always said. These things are real. They do exist. You go back 10, 15, 20 years ago, people would shut you down straight away about talking of anything like extraterrestrials being related to cryptids. Now it's a possibility. And in 50 years, again, like these people on this podcast said, more people will believe it's even more likely. And further on from that, people will undoubtedly know that they exist. So stick to your guns, don't ever be pushed into a corner, and what you believe is yours and yours only. You don't need to try and convince anybody. You don't need to build up a following of people that believe the same way you do. Your beliefs are unique to you, and that's what makes them special. Until next time, guys, take it easy, stay safe, look after yourselves, wherever you are in the world. And if you are in a position to do so, then please do look after somebody else as well.